Welcome to MCN and our look at Emma's 2025 Ninja 1100 SX SE. Have I got it right?
That's right, yeah.
The name of these wrong.
It's a mouthful.
So this has been your long-term test charge for the year. So you've done how many miles on it?
About 4,500, which isn't that much in the grand scheme of things, and I would have liked to have done more, and I will do more over the winter as well, so I'm getting my excuses in nice and early, but that's not been a reflection on the bike. And
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's a decent sort of part years riding, I think.
Yeah.
So that riding is partly commuting, partly some longer jaunts as well,
Yeah.
which we'll come to.
That's right. I wanted a sports tourer because I want my bike to be practical, to sort of make me use it. So yeah, like you say, it's done commuting. I don't live that far away from the office. It's like a round trip of 14 miles or something. But I've done a few longer trips on it as well, because I do quite a bit of ultra running. So that involves running in nice sort of scenic places that have got hills in them. So I thought, if I've got a bike that allows me to go long distances there and most importantly back in comfort, and also got a bit of luggage capacity, I can combine both my passions really, a love of motorcycling with a love of running. So it's a good time efficient way of doing something.
Okay, so that's quite a bizarre use case. So presumably you've got your kind of trainers and all your other gear for that. So you've got to carry that and bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And then get back, and when you're absolutely knackered, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
So how's it kind of fared in terms of carrying stuff and then getting you home and not?
Oh, really, really well. Like I did some big days in the hills sort of earlier this summer, rode up there, and it's sort of a Northumberland way, sort of Cheviot Hills.
So that's about 3.5, 4 hours from us?
Yeah, so the ride up there was glorious, sort of did it after work, straight up there, spent the night and then was up early for a run. Spent the day sort of doing what I was doing, and then I didn't ride back the next day, but the following morning I had to do another run and then ride back and then start work. So obviously that was a 3.5 hour journey when I was pretty knackered, but honestly the comfort and the ease of use just made it completely possible. I think the big thing about this bike is just the lack of vibes and how much it insulates you from vibes and anything that sort of wears you down over time. And the riding position, it's upright, we'll talk about it later, but you got sports tourer in your head and you expect quite a sporty riding position. This isn't that. It's more upright, a little bit more adventure, especially the front, the bar position. But yeah, absolutely, really big on comfort and big on sort of insulating you from the worst of the road conditions and the engine as well. So
yeah. And I guess those rides when you're kind of hanging out your backside a bit, they're probably the ones where you're going to pick out the kind of little niggles of things. So any sort of vibrations or issues with wind noise as well, because I'm sort of talking to some other people with the fleet this year, some can be a bit noisy and that droning gets to you.
Yeah.
Any issues here?
No, I mean, I am one of these people who doesn't seem to be bothered by screens that much. I can't recall a problem or a test bike that I've had where the screen has kind of been an issue for me. I'm 5'6", so maybe I'm a little bit smaller than the average sort of rider, but this has got like a 4-position adjustable screen.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 modes for it. So if it's a nice day like this where there's no weather, I'll keep it in its lowest sort of sportiest position. But if there's a bit of like heavy weather, rain and that kind of thing, I'll just put it up to its maximum, and it just seems to shield me.
Okay, so it's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing, yeah. Fully up or fully down. But like you say, there's no sort of buffeting and little bits of whistling or wind noise that sort of grind you down over time.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely perfect. The only sort of bugbear in terms of comfort is the seat, and I don't know if it's because you are kind of sat that
right
upright.
on your haunches, yeah.
Yeah, and the seat itself is real squishy, and you think it's good for a short period of time, but after a while I think that lack of support starts to sort of give you the butt ache.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And you've mentioned that you put the Pillion seat to work a little bit with your nipper.
Oh yeah. So yeah, as soon as I brought this home, he made a beeline for it. It's like, I can go on the back now, because I think he thought, because it's got these big panniers, it was kind of like an armchair. And compared to the bikes that I've owned in the past, either myself or sort of like long-termers, like the last bike I had was the Ducati Monster, which he did go on the back of, but it was he didn't feel as comfortable. But yeah, popped him on this, and I just think the big grab handles and the sort of idea that he was being sort of cuddled by the panniers as well was a
bit more reassuring.
A bit more reassuring, yeah. He was making a play for a top box, but I don't think I'm there yet. in my riding career. The panniers were a big enough step for me to get my head around.
Slowly reforming sports bike addict.
That's exactly the case, and that's why I got this bike, really, because I've sort of grown up with sports bikes. That's what I love, but I do sort of concede to the fact that I do need that bit of practicality and comfort, and if it allows me to ride more, then this is what it is. And you could say you could go for a tall rounder, but really I don't want that adventure bike kind of style. It's got to be a sports bike kind of style for me, so that's why this is does the job.
Okay. And touching on the sports bit, obviously this is the SE with the Öhlins shock and slightly nicer calipers as well, I believe.
Yeah.
How is it in terms of that? Because I know you've done a track day on this, and I probably should just mention as well that you had a GSX-S 1000 GT.
That's right.
A few years ago, so you've got the direct comparison between these two rivals. So how did this one fare in that regard?
This really surprised me because I was going in with quite low expectations, not as a reflection of the Kawasaki, but based on my previous experience with the Suzuki.
Yeah.
Because I took the Suzuki to Cadwell Park. I think I had that in 2023, I think. And it was a proper handful.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't stay on line. It was running wide out of corners. It was just yawing. It was, it wasn't a pleasant experience.
They're notorious for the cheap suspension, aren't they? Which obviously this doesn't have.
Yes. So this, whether it's a combination of the chassis, which has been refined over, it's been around for a long time.
2011, 12, I think, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. So you've got all that sort of chassis refinement over the years, and then you've got a quality shock in the rear. It was just a revelation. I was so surprised. It stuck to its line. It didn't run wide out of corners, and I really had a good time on it. It's not a sports bike, 100%. It's not a sports bike, but it can acquit itself quite nicely on a road bike only track day, really. Even though it did look like a bit of a fish out of water. I will say that I did put some tyres on it specifically for the track day. So these are Michelin Power GP2s, and I think that helped a lot as well.
Yeah, makes a big difference. I think standard is S22s, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they're fine. They're slightly older generation sports tyres, so
absolutely fine.
Missing a little bit compared to these brand new ones.
Yes.
And then things like brakes, rider aids and things like that, how do those perform?
Yeah, I think it sort of works really well in the fact that they're kind of those things that you don't really notice, so that must mean that they're doing their job.
It fades into the background. And,
which is what they should be. They shouldn't be tapping you on the shoulder every 5 minutes. In terms of brakes, they are sort of a higher spec Brembo. I think they're the M4. I don't know what that means in terms of the actual spec difference.
Meaningless codes, I believe.
Meaningless codes, but Brembo is the name to have.
Yes.
The brakes, they do their job. I wouldn't say they stand out as being excellent, but I don't think they're weak either. It's got like steel lines on it as well, which is always good because that sort of helps with a little bit of that feel, doesn't it?
I think so,
rather than having squishy. The Japanese used to love having squishy lines, didn't they?
Yeah. ABS, how's that?
Yeah, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I'm only sort of doubting myself because I'm trying to put my mind back to the track day that I did, where you think the ABS would make itself known, and I'm just, because it was at Donington Park, so I'm visualising going down that back straight, and I can't recall having that horrible feeling where it was running on.
So Donington, you've got 3 big braking zones if you're Grand Prix circuit.
Yeah.
So you've got several in succession, so you'd have known about it, probably remembered it, I would imagine.
So either I was braking like a kitten, maybe, but I didn't feel like I was. But no, it didn't run on at all, and I think the brakes are really, really good, especially the back brake, because I use back brake quite a bit. On the road, on the track, and especially like when I had Angus on the back and you're doing a bit of sort of like low speed manoeuvring and stuff, and you are using the back brake quite a bit, you can be really precise with the back brake. There's a lot of feel from there, so that helps get confidence in low speed situations when you're fully loaded with a Pillion and luggage and stuff, and you've got the confidence to be that precise with your low speed control. So,
and the higher speeds, because you mentioned using it on track as well, I guess, for sort of correcting lines slightly and things like that.
Nice pulling it.
Subtle feel, I guess.
Really good. Really good.
And talking of other toys as well, cruise control, how's that?
Cruise control, loving the cruise control. It's always one of those things that I go, no, I won't use that until you've got it, and then you realise that you do use it quite a bit. Well, you try to use it quite a bit, but obviously the traffic on our motorways doesn't really allow for that, does it?
No, because this obviously doesn't have the radar, so it's you have to turn it off or hit something. So
that's right, but dead easy to set and use, and absolutely good, really good.
Quick shifter blipper as well.
Oh, the quick shifter is lovely. It it works with the rest of the bike. The whole ethos or sort of overall sense of this bike is smooth and refined, and the quick shifter is both those things, smooth and refined, and it's just like butter going up and down because it's a two-way one. And for this year on this model, Kawasaki are programmed to work from as little as, I think it's 1,500. That's right, yeah. So yeah, that's ridiculous. That's no speed at all. And obviously, when I had Angus on the back, my son, you're short shifting to try and sort of
keep things smooth
and stuff. So having that is a real benefit.
Yeah, nice. And then in terms of kind of the little details and bits and pieces that either make you love or kind of not hate, but kind of that niggle you a little bit in the long run. What's kind of stood out on this, that the bits that you really like about it and the bits that perhaps are less good?
It's a real dull thing to say, but tank range has been a bugbear for me for years, because I think I've had lots of bikes that I've had. I had a Street Triple, I had the Monster, and both of them have got 15 litre
tank. As well.
Hypermotard, yeah. So all these have got little tiny weeny tanks, and just stopping your journey to have to fill up is a right pain in the bum.
Yeah.
This will do 200 miles. You know, the most I've seen is like 205, 208 miles, something like that, and it still had quarter of a litre left to go, so it was
right. Cutting it fine, but that's brilliant. But it just gives me the option to, like we said before, smash up the motorway. Yeah. How far of that tank range can you get through with a seat though? I mean, you mentioned the comfort earlier, so are you getting off for it and sort of rubbing your haunches a bit before you?
No, well, it's the ultra running thing again. I'm used to spending hours in discomfort. It sort of doesn't bother me, but yeah. Even if I wasn't that much of an idiot, I'd say you'd still be able to do a tank full. Yeah, easy. What else do I like? The motor itself is excellent. So obviously it's a bigger motor for this year. So Kawasaki have increased the capacity by stroking it a bit, and then there's all 100 other changes. I think new cams and new pistons, got a heavier crank, port changes and stuff. So by doing that, they've actually dropped the peak power. So on the spec sheet, it sort of makes you scratch your head a little bit when you see it, because it's like giving away 6 horsepower compared to the other smaller version.
It's gone from Euro 5 to 5 plus, hasn't it? Which I guess is a part of that. So.
Yeah, so that'll be part of sort of mitigating the losses from that, really, whatever they do to it, lean mixtures and ignition timing and whatever. So peak power has been reduced, but when we got both of these bikes, the previous model and this one on the dyno, our local dyno BSD, there was sort of, you could see where the power's been sort of swelled in the mid-range. So I think in this guy's, it's got a fatter sort of mid-range. I think there's an extra sort of 6 horsepower, 6 to 8 horsepower. So a decent amount in what you'd feel. And that translates on the road. It just seems, it's just got power everywhere, really. You can be lazy and just do top gear overtakes on national speed limit roads without needing to drop down a cog. So yeah, it's really, really good. And on track, it was good. Around Donington, that's like conservation of momentum kind of circuit, isn't it? But yeah, on the straights, it's just easily accessible power. There's power everywhere, and it's got enough to sort of titillate you. So yeah.
Nice.
Really nice.
And as a begrudging convert to panniers, how have you got on with luggage as well?
Yeah, luggage is good. I've enjoyed having luggage. Like I said, we had a little bit of an altercation with a wing mirror on the first ride home, which I think, you forget you were a wide load. But other than that, the luggage is really easy to use, just sort of clips on and slides forward. Sometimes it needs a big whack to sort of get the little foot over the rubber. But
all clothes okay? You're not standing there trying to jam your pants and shoes and things in?
No, it's been enough for my needs. So yeah, it's been packed with smelly trainers and overnight bags and stuff like that, and I'll use it to bring all my stuff into work rather than putting a rucksack on. Yeah, perfect. And it comes with inner bags as well. Inner bags are
that makes a difference.
Makes a difference. Yeah, totally. So yeah, really pleased with it.
Sure. And negatives.
So yeah, it's not really a negative, but I know I said the riding position is comfortable.
Yeah.
And I understand why it's so upright, and but it's not sporty.
Yeah.
And I think it was brought into focus when I had to go on Justin Hazelden, who's our road tester. He's got us a Triumph Sprint ST, and I had to go on that, and it's like, wow, sports tourers used to be
very old-fashioned sense.
yeah, it used to be just a big sort of slightly more comfy sports bike, didn't they?
Sure.
So yeah, I think when this arrived, God knows why, I had visions in my head of it being a ZX10 with panniers, and it arrived and it's got these sort of big cow horn bars and stuff like that, and you just think it's not a ZX10 with panniers, is it? But
no, they're more kind of a sporty naked with a fairing, I guess, aren't they?
yes, 100%. So yeah, that's more about my preconceptions of it rather than an actual negative.
Maybe adjustable bars would be a nice option.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, adjustable bars.
Have your cake and eat it.
Yeah, negatives as well, and this is another sort of extreme condition that nobody else I know has suffered, but getting it in and out of vans, it's sort of, as part of a job. It gets loaded into a van quite regularly, and I load it up so it's sort of leaning into the side, so it's against the right hand side. And I think where I've ratcheted it in, it's sort of compressed or crushed the throttle tube. So when I've got it out and come to ride it again, the throttle started sticking quite sort of dramatically. And I've just had to sort of wind off the bar ends and sort that out. But like I say, no one else is.
No, but I mean, plenty of people buy bikes remotely now and just see a picture and click yes, and they have it. So it's not beyond the realms that it's going to be delivered to them. So
no, just something to watch out
worth
for.
Knowing and checking.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything else that you don't like, or has been a problem as well? That fit and finish as well. That's probably something we should touch upon. How's it dealt with with salt? Because you got it fairly early in the year, I believe.
I did. I think it arrived in March time, so there's still a little bit of sort of nastiness on the road, but I'm really pleased with the overall build quality. I think it's beautifully built. I mean, all the materials look absolutely stunning, and the paint's gorgeous. And it's only just earlier when we sort of we stood in the sun and I saw its rusty downpipes that I was like, oh, I was a little bit surprised, but
that's quite common. I think
it is,
low-grade stains that they use on these things. So.
Yeah. But it does feel kind of premium in terms of its sort of, the sundry items and how it's put together. So yeah.
No minor kind of electrical gripes, dead batteries, any nonsense like that?
No, it's just worked perfectly every time. I mean, I got it out of the garage this morning and it's been a week or two since I've ridden it. And yeah, just wasn't an issue. It just fired straight up, which is refreshing in these times where bikes have got these tiny lithium batteries that just go flat after a few days. So yeah, perfect. No, really, really good.
So, I mean, obviously manufacturers rejuvenate their bikes and develop them every few years. What would be on your wish list for the next generation of one of these?
Well, you just mentioned the adjustable bars, that'd be good. I think it needs a little bit of a styling refresh, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it sort of does look, and I know that's part of the appeal. It's part of the appeal of why I got it anyway, because I'm a sports bike lover and, but maybe a little bit of a refresh, because they've gone to town on the engine. I think the chassis is good. It's obviously very refined. So, yeah, maybe.
They've been very samey for their whole lifespan, haven't they? The SX series. So, maybe it's time for it to get a bit of a new identity.
Yeah.
But, anything else, or is it? That's the other side. Obviously, it's very refined, and they've just chipped away. So, probably get to the point where it's close to not perfect. Nothing's perfect, but
yeah. Well, I guess it's sort of like it's been such a good seller, hasn't it? It's been, previously
consistently UK's best in this category, anyway.
Yeah, 100%. So maybe Kawasaki are on the opinion of
if it ain't broke.
100%. So yeah, but yeah, it'd be nice to see something a little bit more, different coming out.
And obviously, just final question: you're in the privileged position of just being given a motorbike for free to try for the year. Would you pay your money for it? Have you been tempted?
I feel really mean saying this, and it's like in those films where they go, oh, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
Because it does everything that I wanted to do, and it's so good, I can't really fault it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of missing that little spark of something. There's the bit that you can't really quantify that appeals to your sort of heartstrings, a little bit of excitement.
I know exactly what you mean, because my father has just bought an R1300 RS over one of these, mostly because the engine's got a little bit more life to it.
Yeah.
But regardless of the rest of the package, he liked the bike as a whole. But
Yeah.
a Japanese inline 4, they sort of throw them away and get on with the job, which
Yeah.
is great for some people, but
Yeah. So
lucky
it's
with
been
life.
it's been refined to the point of being maybe a little bit of character's gone out of it. I think because I had that Suzuki as well, the motor in the Suzuki in this chassis would be quite something.
Right. Yeah.
I think
Still got a bit of a sports bike bristle to it.
yeah, it's got a little bit of a raw edge to it, hasn't it? Because obviously that comes from the almighty K5. It's a derivative of that. So yeah, but it's just something a little bit more hard edge to it. And yeah, I think if you could combine those, that'd be the ultimate sports tourer for me.
So a nitpick, really. So
It is a nitpick.
generally very good.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe. Well, if you bought a 2025 1100 SX, drop a comment below and let us know whether you agree with Emma's feedback or think she's talking out of her backside. But thank you for watching this video. We've got more long-term videos from this year's series. We've got previous years as well, so take a look back at some of those as well. Thank you for watching.